Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Hope we're well. Hope we're enjoying our Tuesday. Well, I'm recording this in the probably early afternoon now. It'll be an earlier upload today. I've got some stuff to do this evening, so obviously can't get one open and up for basically this evening. So I'm going to do some stuff now. Hopefully keep boys up to date because so much is changing at the moment and so much is going to change in the next couple of weeks. Just got to stay on it. I'm just trying to stay as far on top of this as possible, okay? First and foremost, big shout out to everyone that has recently subscribed. Like, it is amazing over the last sort of, I'd say 3-4 videos, like the amount of attention these videos have got in a good way. The idea for me in this channel is always just to voice my own opinion, but also to kind of get your own opinion as well. I think, I've got a few Spurs mates and, it's always nice to hear what they say, but it's always really good to kind of get an idea of just more of the fan base. And I think Twitter can be a really toxic place. So for me, the idea of this channel was always to build a community and to see what you guys think and, to keep it quite, in a weird way, a safe space. I'm always interested to know more. Maybe I missed some things, maybe, and there's been some good comments about things that, maybe I have missed. And that's what I love about the community. It's not a toxic atmosphere. It's not someone going, mate, you're rubbish, you didn't know this. It's saying, oh, I love this, but by the way, there was a little bit of this that maybe, it could be beneficial to Spurs, beneficial to Celtic, whoever it might be, right? And that's what I love. So thanks everyone for subscribing and joining the community, and let's hope to get a few more in, that's for sure. So let's start with the big man, Ange Postecoglou. Obviously, we spoke yesterday about how it was deal agreed and all that. I'm not going to go into that a little bit. Obviously, that was last video. But this one, there's two bits to this that I found really interesting. Number one, I talked about how it was a 2-year deal with the option of an extra year, right? It's come out today from Ornstein, the absolute GOAT. It's apparently a 4-year deal instead, which that's a green flag. And that's a green tick. And I think all Spurs fans are backing that because I think 2 years with the option doesn't really show there's confidence in the guy. Especially this is a guy that has come out, we've been chasing for months. His agent has really been trying to sell him to Daniel Levy as well. So 4 years shows he's got full backing, shows that we want this for the long run, and shows that we want him to stick around for a while. Yes, he's 57, but it doesn't mean he can't stick around for a while, The other thing as well, that he's due to start work on July 1st. That's pretty much when his Celtic contract ends, okay? So I would assume so. That's why it's that. But let's be honest, he's working now. He's telling the player, he's probably telling some of the board or Levy or Scott Munn, whoever it might be, look, I don't want that guy. I know I don't want that guy. I'm not interested in that guy. They probably give him a list of going, look, these guys are out on loan. Any of them you want? And he'll go, oh, don't rate him, don't want him, get these guys gone. Or he might be like, look, keep him. I want to have a little look at him. And I think Ndombele will be that kind of guy. So keep him, let me have a look at him. If I don't rate it, we'll ship him off early doors. But I'll know early doors if I want him or not. So that's a little bit of good news, I guess, is that he's getting a decent sized contract. And let's be honest, he's not starting on July 1st. He's starting now, okay? Moving on to some transfer news. So, new man coming in. You would think, right, he might have a bit of a list of who he might want. There might be some guys from Celtic he wants to bring over, that sort of thing. And I'm not saying this is lazy journalism, and it's not. Please don't anyone think that I think this is lazy journalism. What I think is Daniel Levy's got a list of targets that he wants. They're the players that he wants, and he's given them to Postecoglou to say, do you want any of these guys? So there's three names on this list for sure, but I think there's more to come on this list, absolutely. So right now, when we look at this list, we've got James Maddison being the number one guy. So 40 million rated James Maddison, obviously from Leicester. They want to look at David Raya to replace Hugo Lloris as Spurs' number one keeper from next season. And then also targeting Max Kilman from Wolves. So 1, Max Kilman was linked to us last summer. 2, James Maddison's been linked to us all season, even in a little bit last summer as well. And 3, David Raya's been linked to us pretty much last summer as well as into this season. So again, it's not lazy journalism. I don't want anyone to think that it is. But what I'm saying is these are previous targets. These aren't Postecoglou targets, right? Now, first and foremost, all 3 players are good players. Madders has been incredible at Leicester when you think of his output this season and last season for a team that, let's be honest, has struggled. Vardy's not the same as guys he used to be. Iheanacho doesn't score the goals. Daka didn't really hit the ground running. Defensively wise, they shipped goals left, right and centre, which is quite amazing. Sionchu went to one of the best defences in the world in Atletico Madrid. Not really sure how that's worked out. So obviously, yeah, I think the majority of Spurs fans would want James Maddison, and for 40 million, in my opinion, that's a steal. When you look at today's market, that's a steal. I mean, don't get me wrong, 2 or 3 years ago, they'd gone 40 million. Are you joking? 30 million, 25 million, right? Today's market is just shot up, and he is a good player. He'll give us something different, something that we haven't had since Eriksen, to be honest, as well. We thought Lo Celso might have been that guy, but it didn't really turn out to be. Maddison is a 10. Maddison is like an Eriksen. I'd say he's better in terms of set-piece deliveries. He's better with free kicks. Ironically, Eriksen maybe couldn't beat the first man on a corner, but actually could take a decent free kick. And then Harry Kane went, can I have a go? And all Spurs fans went, Harry, mate, we really like you, but we don't like you that much for you to hit row Z every single time or hit the wall, you know? Porro came in and Porro showed he actually can take a free kick, and it'll be nice to have a few different options to be able to take that set-piece delivery. So, yeah, first of all, Maddison, yes. David Raya, you know, watching him a little bit this season, I think because we were linked to him and he's obviously got 1 year left on his contract. Obviously, Brentford already signed his replacement in Mark Flecken as well. Watching him deliver, like in terms of using his feet, he's really good at playing out from the back. You can tell he's cultured in that regard. He's playing behind a defence that maybe aren't the best in terms of playing out from the back. They're decent. I'm not saying they're not, but you know, maybe not the best in the league. But he really can pick a pass. You know, I'd say as a shot stopper, he's good. I'm not saying he's not whatsoever. And I think he is definitely a good replacement. Now, they're talking about, we want 40 million for him. Look, he's got 1 year left in his deal. He's not signed a contract. He's rejected so many contracts. He is obviously evidently wanting to leave. You signed the replacement. They're not going to get 40 million, in my opinion. 25, 30 they might get, though. I'd be honest. I think that's reasonable. I think that's realistic. But obviously, in all types of business, you want to sell high, people want to buy low, you meet in the middle somewhere. That's kind of how it's going to be, right? What I would say is David Raya's obviously been linked to Man United. He's been linked to Chelsea. It's one of those, I think, if we want him, we've got to act quickly. The other thing is, obviously, we're still linked with Emi Martinez from Aston Villa. Aston Villa want Lo Celso. Is there a bit of a deal to be made there? Maybe Lo Celso going to Villa with some money for Martinez come the other way? Maybe. I mean, in terms of cost effective, it makes sense. But in terms of books and all that, you want to sell Lo Celso, you then want to buy a keeper. You don't want to do a swap deal because the books don't work out as well. It's a very tactical thing that's done, right? In terms of the centre-back, Max Kilman, young player, obviously played a back three a lot at Wolves, was touted to be the guy that we want this summer from last summer. You'll have heard me in previous videos talking about Bastoni, Evan and Dicker, which, by the way, still on a free. Should be something that we potentially look at. You know, we talked about Clement Longley, obviously got him in on loan. We did talk about Max Kilman a little bit and how we want him, but he's for the following summer. So that's not surprising that he's popped back up again. Knows the Premier League, plays in a decent defensive team at Wolves, barring that, obviously, Brighton hammering at the end of the season. But let's be honest, Wolves weren't really playing for a lot at the end of the season, so I don't think they care, to be honest. Good player, definitely a good player, young, can offer you a lot, I think. I'll probably go into a bit more detail about centre-halves because obviously we're going to be looking to get a top-quality centre-half. And I did notice that Aston Villa are in for Pau Torres, and this should be someone that we should have looked at last summer. Should be someone that we're looking at this summer. He's young, cultured, good, great on the ball, in my opinion. International footballer, left-footed, plays on the left-hand side of the two, would be perfect with Romero. I don't know. Obviously, I would love Laporte, but that might be a pipe dream. I don't know. In terms of some other players that we're linked with, obviously Harvey Barnes is a big one at Leicester. I think you're looking at probably 80 million for between the Maddison and Barnes deal. And I talked about other videos, and I think it's a good deal. Real Madrid wanting Kane. I don't see them getting Kane. Oh, I do see them potentially getting Richarlison as well as Havertz because it will be cost effective and it probably works out the same kind of price as Kane. And maybe they want a bit more depth for their attacking options. It's something that I've noticed with Real Madrid. They do sometimes lack in those attacking areas, especially Asensio going to PSG. Obviously, Benzema's going off to Saudi. They're losing two guys. They probably want to replace with two new guys. Richarlison, Havertz, cost-effective-wise, makes sense. Richarlison is someone they actually want as well. So as much as I may know they want Kane, we're going to be obviously playing very difficult hardball with them. We probably want to maybe use Richarlison as bait to say, hey, look, you can have him if you want for this price. Be a bit more reasonable with them maybe. And then using that money to cash in and then go and get Maddison and Barnes with a little bit on top of our own. Obviously, you're not going to get 80 million for Richarlison. Don't think that either. I think that would be smarter. I'm not saying that we need lots of depth in the attacking areas because, again, we're only playing once a week with the occasional twice a week. But if you're losing Richarlison, you may be going to use Maddison as a cam or a 10. You can have Barnes as a left winger to give Son kind of a push for his money. You would then go, look, we might need a striker, we might need a right winger, but Brian Hill might be the guy that you want as the right winger this year. I don't know. Maybe that's the guy. Maybe there's a youth player that we're coming through with. I don't know. I don't see Troy Parrott or Dane Scarlett being the backup to Harry Kane this year, but I know obviously we're linked with a few people. Furuhashi obviously is the Celtic striker this year. We've been linked to Højlund, I think his name is. Not Haaland, Højlund. I don't really know a lot about him. I'm not going to sit here and say he's great, he's this, that, and the other. I don't know. I know more about Furuhashi than I do him. So we're not sure about that. Obviously, we're still linked to James Ward-Prowse, and I think I like James Ward-Prowse. I do. Homegrown's always a nice thing with Maddison as well as Barnes. Knows the Prem, can get on the ball, play good football. And actually, Southampton this year against the big boys were quite solid. It's quite weird. It's a really weird thing. They couldn't do well against the teams that are down there with them or mid-table area. But against the big six, they threw up all kinds of problems. They gave problems to City, us, Arsenal. Ward-Prowse is a good player. He's a very good player. Is he going to take you to that next level? That's one issue. How much is he going to cost? I think Southampton, because he's their captain, yes, they may want to help him get to a club that he wants to go to, but they're also going to be looking to basically remove from that club they're going to as much money as they physically can draw out of them. And you may be looking at about 40 odd million. And are you going to spend 120 million on Barnes, Maddison and Ward-Prowse? For me, you're not. I would say we need Maddison and Barnes a little bit more than we would Ward-Prowse. But I still think we would need a central midfielder. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, maybe Ndombele is going to be that guy to come back in. It gives you that option. I don't know. Maybe we play a 4-2-3-1. Maybe play a 4-3-3. And again, like I said, we're going to go in another video about Postecoglou and what he likes, what sort of players he gets, and the style of players that he uses in that certain position. There was one name that came up that sent chills down my spine, and not even in a good way, in a really bad way. Now, by the way, this came from Gary Jacob, tier 1 source, okay? So this isn't all rubbish or nonsense or anything like that. We think of Eric Dyer as a slow centre-back, English, makes a lot of mistakes. So Spurs are also keeping tabs on a slow centre-back, English, who often makes mistakes, and Harry Maguire, who's going to cost more per week. Man United are going to probably want 40, 50 million for him because English tax. He plays well at England. He could play well at you. Doesn't suit a back four. And when he does play a back four, Luke Shaw has to drop straight in to play really tight alongside him to give him cover. The centre defensive middle in front of him has to come in and drop in that area as well to give him extra support. For me, no go. Wouldn't want him anywhere near this club for me. We can do better. I'm not saying Eric Dyer is. I'm just saying we could do better. And we should be aiming for better as well. The reason why he plays well at England is he plays back five. And this is what I don't like about Gareth Southgate. He plays a back five where he's got John Stones sitting next to him. He's been potentially one of the best centre-halves in the world this season. He's got Luke Shaw playing left wing-back. He's got Kyle Walker there as well, who can kind of sometimes sweep over pace-wise. He's got two centre defensive mids in front of him, one being Bellingham, I know, who gets forward, but Rice really sits in there and helps out as well. So he's got all these people around him to give him cover. All he's got to do is stick his head on the football occasionally, and that's why he looks so good. And for me, he works in the back five. We're not playing a back five. Doesn't work for us. Fact, simple, end of, move on from him. The other thing that kind of irks me a little bit was this story that came out that, yes, we may be the 9th richest club in the world and we make profits and, we're top 3 in profits and things like that. It was this story that came out that Daniel Levy's told Ange Postecoglou, yo, you're going to have to work within your means this summer. We haven't got the money to spend. We didn't even spend all the money we should have last summer. We barely did anything in January. Where's the money gone? You're telling me this guy's going to have 80 to 100 million, that's it. Well, give him full autonomy to sell as many players as he wants. Obviously, don't sell Kane, mate, I can't lie. But if he's got 100 million and we make 70 million from sales, you better give him the 70 million. Don't start thinking, let me put that in my back pocket. You know, I'm the highest paid director, but if I can make a bit more money for Enoch, then maybe I get a bit more money out of this as well. Don't be like that. Don't be a moron. Give him the money. If that's the money that we're making from sales, give him the 70 million. If it's 10 million, give him the 10 million. If it's £1,000, give him the £1,000. If it's 100 million, give him 100 million. Whatever it might be, give him that money. Have a full-on quality, and I don't like rebuild. I don't think we need a rebuild, a retooling. You think a keeper that we need, a left centre-back that we need. We've got a left-back coming in this summer. We've got Pedro Porro for right-back. You need probably a midfielder that's quality. You need a creative midfielder and at least one attacking option. We don't need a massive rebuild when we're working with a smaller squad because we've got less games to play this year. A retooling is probably the right definition of what we need, in my opinion. Give him the money, because we might go, look, here's 150 million in total. And he'll go, right, well, I'll spend 80 million on Barnes and Maddison. I'll spend 30 million on Raya. We're sitting there at 110 million. Okay, let's call it 115 to be on the safe side. Right, I've got 35 million pounds to work with. Well, I tell you what, I really need that centre half. Right, I'm going to go get this guy. He's going to cost 30 million. Boom. There you go. Budget's not fully spent because there's a few million left over. But there you go. You've got all those players. I went through 7 players we may sell. But when you also look at certain positions like the right-back position, for example, you've got Pedro Porro. You've got Emerson that played last year. You've still got Jed Spence, who's been out on loan. Maybe Spence is going to be the guy. Maybe Emerson is the time for him to move on. I don't know. You think of centre halves that we're selling. You think of, we've got Destiny, Cess, and Perisic at left wing back next year. Maybe if we're playing a back 4, Davies isn't going to play centre half. Maybe he's the left back option. All right, we'll sell Davies. Get rid of Perisic, sell Davies. You sell Sanchez. You get rid of Tanganga. You get rid of, let's say, Emerson. We're sitting there already. When you think of Perisic, Davies, Sanchez, Tanganga, and Emerson, that's 5 players from the back area. Lloris being a 6th from keeper. So from the back 4 and the keeper, we're getting rid of 6 people. If you're then moving further forward into the team, Pape Matar is probably going to go out on loan. If not, we're selling Højbjerg, right? You then think attacking options. We got rid of Moura, so those wages are saved already. Kane or Richarlison, I assume one of them's going to go this summer, in my opinion. Unless Real Madrid get fed up and they're not going to go for either of them, then we keep Richie, which again, for me, not a problem. I'm happy to keep Richie. I like him. But if you sell Richie's going to fetch you 50 mil, somewhere around there, So if you're thinking of all that, you then think of the players coming back on loan with like Reguilon, Winks, Lo Celso, Ndombele, Brian Hill. There's loads. There's no reason why if we don't make sales this summer, you're not hitting 100 million plus. So when you think of what we mean, we might bring in 5 players this summer who might total about 200 million because we've got the money to spend that we're going to give him. We're going to give him a budget of about 100 million. If we sell 100 million pounds worth of players, which is very much doable, it's very, to think it's not, Sanchez is getting you 10, Perisic, you're going to cover the wages, maybe get a couple of mil. Lloris is going to fetch you 5 to 10 mil, somewhere in there. He's going to Saudi, so Saudi will pay for it. That's where I think he's going, by the way. I'm not saying that's true, but I think that's where I think he's going. Reguilon will fetch you a few mil. Emerson fetches you a few mil. Tanganga, I think, just sell. He'll fetch you 10 mil. Easy, just on English tax. Pape Matar on loan. Ben Davies fetches you 15 mil. Dyer might be sold. He'll fetch you 10, 15 mil. Richie, if he gets sold, is going to fetch you about 50. You see what I mean? There's easily £100 million worth to be attained in that. And that's not even talking about Lo Celso, Ndombele and Winks, a 3-person midfield there and then. So you can see what I mean. There's easily potential to just retool the squad with some good quality players who really want to play for the club. And that's the big thing. Having players that want to be at Spurs and don't look at Spurs as a stepping stone. They really want to be there. Then don't forget, you've got players like Bentancur who are going to come back from injury later in this year. And then we can actually just integrate him nice and slowly because he'd fit the system beautifully. So if you're looking at 150 million to 200 million within that range and you're buying 5 players, Maddison, Barnes, Raya, easy 3. They'll fit easily within the budget and there'll be so much more to spend. If that's 110, and you've got, let's say, £175 million in total with sales to spend, look at £65 million left. You can buy 2 other players with that who are quality, and there you go. The retooling is sorted, or a rebuild potentially, how you may look at it, is sorted. But anyway, guys, that's the end of the video. I hope we're well. Like the video if you liked it, I guess. Drop a comment about what you think about maybe the players coming in. What you think of Maddison, you think of Raya, Barnes, Ward-Prowse, Max Kilman, Maguire. Give me a thought about if anyone you think maybe Spurs should go for. Maybe it is a Pau Torres. Maybe it is Emi Martinez. I don't know. Obviously, subscribe if you are new. Always happy to have more of you come and join us. Bell notification for more. Anyway, lads, that's the end of the video. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll speak to you all very, very soon. Take care, lads.